Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Happy belated Thanksgiving if you're here in the States. This is going to be my review for the remake of Oldboy. This is going to be Spike Lee's version. Of course, the original one is classic Korean film, sort of like a noir thriller. The story is that this guy gets imprisoned for 15 years. He doesn't know who imprisoned him. He's basically in this hotel room for 15 years. He winds up getting out at some point, and he has X amount of time to figure out who did it to him, why they did it. And that I don't really need to tell you much more than that because it's going to be spoiler free. The only main difference between the American one and the Korean one is, besides being directed by Spike Lee, is that he was in prison for 20 years instead of 15 in this one. Spike Lee does throw some twists at you. It's not exactly the same story, so if you've seen the original one, you might be guessing a little bit. But to tell you the truth, I knew what was going on from the beginning. I saw the red herring. It was, as obvious as day. So I was pretty much able to figure out. And to tell you the truth, I was expecting more from this movie. I know nobody liked the idea of Spike Lee making it, but for some reason I was like, I think it's going to be kind of cool. I like the idea of Brolin playing Oldboy character because he's kind of like that in real life. I don't know if I'm buying into the marketing hype or what, but he's obviously like a rowdy kind of drunk guy. So he's kind of like the main character, so I was expecting his performance to be better, which he does a good performance, but I just didn't feel the emotion that I did when I watched the original movie. And like I said, it was fresh in my mind because I watched it last night. And just the overall Spike Lee, the film is just not as subtle. American versions of the Asian films are never as subtle as the Asian counterparts. And in this one, the color palette's so boring. I was thinking to myself, I was like, I wish they would have done a color palette, something similar to Collateral, if you've never seen that with Tom Cruise, but that's a Michael Mann film, and I really like the color palette. It has that noir feel. In this one, they left the color palette kind of drab, and when I think Oldboy, I always think of the box cover first because that's the first thing that ever drew me to it. I had never heard of it. I just picked it up in the video store because the box cover's him walking with the neon lights. And the marketing for this one was just him when he's coming out of the box in the field. And it's just completely the art direction of the film in general. I just didn't like it. I guess that's the best way to put it. And then Charlotte Copley plays the villain in this. And, in the original one, obviously if the guy went through this much trouble to get vengeance on you and all this stuff, he's already at James Bond villain status. So you don't really need to overplay him. And, Charlotte Copley, especially if you've seen Elysium, he has a little bit of an overacting streak in him. He kind of plays every character like an oddball. And I don't think that was necessary for this character because obviously what he's done, he's already an oddball. And another thing I was disappointed in was I was curious after watching last night who were they going to get and how are they going to portray Mr. Han, which is his bodyguard in the movie. And it's so weak. And then especially the fight at the end where he gets into the fight with James Brolin's character at the end. It was so weak compared to the original one. That just let me down big time. And like I said, everything has to be completely freaking unsubtle in the American version. Elizabeth Olsen did a fine job. And overall, it's a fine movie, but I was actually expecting more. If you've seen the original one, just stick with the original one. If you have to go out and see this one, it might keep you guessing, but I kind of thought, I could kind of see it coming a mile away. I was like, oh, this is what they're going to do. Oh, I see. So there's some differences. And Sam Jackson plays the guy that kept him imprisoned, and he's kind of an important character in the original movie. And they have a scene, I'll just say about the teeth, but that scene was a big letdown in this one too. And then the big scene where he fights all the guys, it was just like a bad edit. It jumped to that. And then it was just like so lighthearted. It seemed almost like he was tongue-in-cheeking the original one. I liked the fight scene, but just the way it started, and it was just the characters involved in the fight just seemed over the top. I felt like I was watching the Beat It video, Michael Jackson's old video. Yeah, so I guess thinking back on it, there's a lot of problems. I like the beginning part when he was imprisoned in the room on this one. They kind of show he's more of a douche. In the original one, you didn't quite get the idea he was that much of a douche till they explain later. In this one, you get more of an idea he's a big douche. Which I kind of like that. And then in this one, he has an encyclopedia in the room too, which I thought was cool. And so he doesn't learn everything from TV. But that's one thing they failed to do was there's only one scene where he mentions something that he probably learned off the TV. are the encyclopedias, and I kind of like that about the original one because he kind of makes a point of that he learned a lot of stupid shit from watching TV. In this one, they kind of let that ball go, and you know, of course, they have to fit in a couple scenes that are similar to the original movie, and the one, especially the very first fight scene, felt extremely forced, like it just came out of nowhere. And then, like I said, the other big fight scene where, you know, where he fights all the guys like Bruce Lee style. That was just, I don't know, was not as good, and the color palette was all messed up. So the very end is slightly different, also. I'd like to hear your opinion of that down below if you've seen the film. Let me know what you thought of the Spike Lee remake. It's not a reimagining; it's basically a remake. They did kind of get the Asian stuff in there by using the dumplings and stuff still, but yeah, just too unsubtle, basically. I like the original one because the concept is so strange and so out of hand anyways. You don't need, you know, Oldboy should be the focus of the attention, not, you know, the crazy Sam Jackson character, crazy bad guy, whatever. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I was going to go a little lower. It's not a recommendation. But overall, if you've probably never seen the original, it's probably a decent movie, and I'm sure the twist will, you know, get you pretty good. But yeah, let me know what you thought of Oldboy down below. Yeah, and I don't know how well this is going to be edited because I'm having some computer frickin' problems. I'm going to try to get my Sunday episode of Walking Dead out before going break, and then I'm probably going to have to invest in another computer. I don't know how long this one's going to last, but yeah, you can always keep in touch with me on my Facebook page. I'll put the link down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I won't be down for long if my computer goes down. So, all right, guys, take care. Have a happy holiday, and be safe. Yeah, be safe. Okay, yeah, that sounds kind of nice. I sound like an old man, but all right, guys, take care.